Good morning. Welcome to Mayor's Weekly, and we're just days past another successful Foothills, an event that stirs so much excitement in our city. Brings visitors from far and wide. An event that well attended. We're lucky to be able to drive around an unfavorable weather forecast and just a terrific event. That's the case every year. It continues to grow, and a little background that I've touched on in previous meetings is what it takes to make this event happen. It's not something that we gather up a couple of weeks preceding the event and put it together. Work has already begun on Foothills 2023, and work will continue throughout the year as we prepare and shape the event based on experiences this year. And this is the first year that Jasper Main Street has had a hand in it, and we welcome them to have them pull alongside us and help and learn, and maybe the day comes that the overall running of Foothills would transition to Jasper Main Street. Probably makes more sense for it to be there than based in the city. But if that happens, the city will always be a supporter, both financially and providing labor to make the event happen. But joining me this morning, Brent McCarver. Since Brent came to work for us several years ago, he's been deeply involved in Foothills and worked very hard to make it a success. This year, no exception, and he worked to bring Foothills into the effort. And Brent, you and I have talked, and the feedback we get, whatever it was a success in every corner. Wouldn't you agree?
Extremely positive. We had several this year reach out. I don't know what has caused it, but we've had more comments than we've ever had in the past following Foothills about the city itself, how clean it is. People from all over. We know we had people from Gulfport, Mississippi, Macon, Georgia, Panama City, Florida, North Carolina, Missouri, Montana. So we had a lot of people engaged from definitely out of town, and we've had a lot of great positive comments about it this year.
Well, Brent, one of the things that I heard more than once, and I guess this is normal, but people from out of town, and they picked up information about the event through Facebook and other things. Right. That's the way they learned about it, and that and we're just human, and developed some preconceived notions that this would be nothing more than a country hootenanny, exactly. Redneck event, if you will. Right. And every one of them, those notions were laid to rest after they came here. Yes. Wouldn't you agree?
Very much so. That's one thing. If everybody saw, I keep hitting my phone. I wanted to bring in recent data. We're Friday to Thursday, from the initial Foothills, we've had 35,000 engagements on our social media related to Foothills in the last 7 days.
35,000.
So that tells you 35,000 people have, or at least I'll say the social media accounts, have looked at, made comments, or liked, or whatever, something to do with the most recent Foothills. In the last 28 days, we've had 58,000. So in the last month, we know that we have, in some form of social media, 58,000 people or accounts have had some interaction with Jasper. I have really, honestly, nothing but positive. You're always going to have somebody didn't like this band or didn't like the color of cotton candy, but all in a positive manner.
I had a person that said, "Well, I'm not going to attend Foothills because we don't have any bluegrass."
Right.
Well, but you have that sort of thing. But when you have maybe 30,000 people show up,
yes,
that tells me, by and large, you got it right.
We got it right. Well, and again, as you mentioned, as it moves forward, and we try to do this each year, we may look at what opportunities are out there. One of the things that's been discussed, do we continue with the vendor setup? Do we move it to multiple stages? So again, as you mentioned, you don't know yet, the email will go out today. We'll plan our debrief meeting sometime around the 21st, 25th of September. We'll get our group together and break down this year. And then, of course, after that, right after Christmas, we come back in January, we have our first full-scale meeting on 23, and, we can discuss all of this information that comes in. We look at it, but you're right. If you're hitting on the type, our restaurants were full, our shops downtown had visitors on Saturday. I think, beyond a shadow of a doubt, this was the best Saturday crowd, daytime, we've ever had. And, it just seems to be what's right. We don't have the resources or the space to do something for every single person, but I think we're getting it as close to as we can.
Well, I know this, Brent, based on my long tenure in the banking business, nobody gets shortchanged on this event because it's free.
It is free. That is exactly right.
You can't complain.
No.
You charge me too much.
That's right.
Or whatever, but as you and I have talked about it, if you were giving away $100 bills, there'd be a certain segment of the folks that would say, why is it not $200?
$200, you're right. That's
so,
exactly right.
I disregard that that quick and pay no attention to that, and always going to be there. And and what does it mean to our city? That's impossible to quantify,
Sure.
But it has value to people from other areas that have come. You never know. Do they make a decision to move to Jasper? Or do they tell their friends, you ought to look at Jasper? Do they have connections to industrial prospects that maybe you ought to take a look at Jasper? You just never know. But I do know this. You're better off with that good publicity than no publicity.
We know for a fact there's a family, the ones I mentioned from Missouri, they had, a couple of years back, they had bought property on Smith Lake.
Right.
He's getting ready to retire, and they checked us out through the website, and they come every year for their vacation. Around the Labor Day weekend, come down to the lake based on Foothills. So, we know that's taking place. This year in particular, Mike Ferdinand, we had some folks from different organizations to include some developers and things that we were able to get them some passes to Hospitality Suite. They came to town Friday night. So, again, there's much more to it than just the city wanting to throw a party downtown. I mean, there's a lot of things that go on. We also, too, we'll follow up. I know Kathy does a little bit of this, and then I try to reach out a little later on. We give them a chance, a month or two, to look through it. But we'll touch base with all our downtown people and see, some of them within the recent years have had as much as a 17% increase weekend over weekend in the Foothills weekend in their revenue. So we'll check that out, too.
Yeah, good. Well, the thing I want to share with you is who are the folks on the ground that make this happen? There's some folks that want to take credit, and they're due no credit because they made no contribution. But Brent McCarver, our police department, our street department, Main Street, Jasper Water Works and Sewer Board. Brent, wouldn't you say those various groups comprise the folks that made it happen?
We meet.
And Zach Bowers, don't leave Zach out by
Zach and Lisa Myers specifically did
a
great job this year coming back on board to help with vendors. Yeah, those entities are pretty much, I would say the city as a whole, with folks from cemetery, folks from Park and Rec, but the leadership of the street department, Jasper Fire, Police and Fire, but specifically J.C. Poe's group. We're down here at 6 o'clock Friday morning, working as one unit. I mean, it's, you know, I'm not going to get all silly about it, but it's really great to me. We've all got radios, and, you know, whoever's nearest the garbage can picks the garbage up. I mean, it's not a, oh, that's my job, or you know, for me particular, I don't say, well, I sit in an office, so you go haul the garbage, or Lisa doesn't say, well, I don't, you know, use a screwdriver. I mean, whatever's going on, we all rush to fix it. I'll also want to add that there's one business in town, but seriously, we couldn't do Foothills without them, and they are on call as long as we're down here. They run that electric company.
Right.
We have our issues with, and we do every year, and I'll say this, we're going to, you get moisture in some of these GFI outlets or whatever, we'll get a vendor that tells us at 8:30 Friday night, my power went off. If we can't fix it on the ground, we had 3 instances this year that Jason sent guys out later in the night, and we fixed the electricity real quick. So I do want to mention them specifically, because they're great to work with.
Yeah. And Brent, we don't want to leave out the Walker County Sheriff Department, a big piece of our security detail. And when you bring as many people to town as we bring to town, everybody having fun, and you can draw your own conclusions from that. And and not to have a single police incident. We did not. Last year, we only had one where one person had to have a little coaching, no citations issued. But the probability of having problems and that sort of environment and what's going on is really high. But when you have a police presence like we had, our police department, the sheriff's department, on the ground, on the move, it's a real deterrent to folks getting out of hand, and I think that bodes well for our city.
It does. And again, watching those two groups work together, the Sheriff's Department provides most of the people that work the stage area back to the green room, hospitality suites, no incidents. They take care, in most cases, of the entertainment that's here, whatever's going on in front of the stage. So TJ Armstrong and his group, they do a great job. They work really well with the Jasper Police Department, and you know, it is amazing. You could have, I guess, at any given time, 13 to 15,000 people crammed in that little area right there in front of the stage, and JPD does a great job keeping it under control.
That's right. Well, a great year, and we'll begin to look forward to Foothills 2023, and it's, like I said, it'll be shaped based on experiences this year and years past, and we'll do everything that we can to tailor it, to make it appeal to as many people as we can make it appeal to.
Right.
Again, understanding that some folks you never make happy, and that and I'll close with this story. I've told it many times about you can't make people happy, but Brent knows this. In the early days when I was running for office, I started looking across the state of Alabama for the best mayor in Alabama, and I went straight to Tommy Battle in Huntsville, which is Huntsville now the largest city in the state, and developed a relationship with Mayor Battle, and we've talked along the way, and in one of my conversations after we came to office, Mayor Battle and I were talking about how you can't make everybody happy. And this had happened just days before my conversation with Mayor Battle. And he said, David, he said, had an older gentleman come to my office to see me, and said, here's what he told me. He said, Mayor Battle, I live in this particular subdivision, and it's gotten to the point that I can hardly get onto the street to go to Publix to buy my groceries. And he said, now you have recruited Mazda and Toyota to come here and build a huge plant and hire 4,000 people, and I'm not happy about it a bit. So that tells a story.
That's
you
right.
can't make everybody
That's exactly
happy.
right.
And you've heard that story.
I have,
Good,
yes, sir.
good. But pleased to have you with us. Any comments about Foothills? We always welcome comments, and you'll get a prompt response. So we'll look forward to being with you next week.